For our Notan projects, I want to show you some past student projects that kind of follow some themes. So I have a couple that are showing an outdoorsy theme. Okay, I want you to pay attention to the size of these shapes and how they're all separate shapes. Everything that you design is going to get cut out. So all of these teeny tiny little birds, you have to cut all of this stuff out. So keep that in mind. Here is a different type of outdoorsy theme, okay? You also want to take account these edges, okay? The designs that you put along the edges, you want them to be able to reflect to complete a symmetrical image, okay? Also, the background colors that we will be using, we will try and coordinate into our theme. This project was kind of a traveling or going for a drive theme, okay? We have an underwater theme. Now this one I want you to look at because there's lots of tiny details, okay? Lots of teeny tiny little bubbles that you can see that were lost because I'm not seeing as many out on the outside. All of the wavy little seaweeds or creatures, all of these items have to be cut out. So simpler is going to be easier and neater, but if you're someone with really good hand dexterity and control, you can try and do something a little more detailed and challenging. And if you don't want to go with a theme at all, you can always do kind of just a non-objective theme. So you can't really necessarily say, oh, that's a bubble or that's seaweed. I mean, you could say it kind of looks like one, but you don't know for sure. And so this type of artwork would be considered non-objective. Now, with all of these, the black has been balanced pretty evenly. You want to start around the outside border first, and then you want to design little floating separate shapes to kind of fill the inside. So this one only has one that is not connected to the outside. This one, only the stars are not connected to the outside. And this one, only the birds, and then part of the sun, and I guess maybe part of these mountains are not quite connected perfectly to the edge, but they're still symmetrical. As one kind of whole separate image to the edge. So consider all of these things when you are creating your design. You will start by tracing this square, which is the same size as our black square will be. Here you can see I've drawn just a regular picture with lots of lines. This is not going to work. I am going to have to make sure that none of these lines are touching and all of this turns into separate floating shapes. So pay attention to how I am changing this so that each little shape is floating, nothing can be touching. So some of these you'll see I'm turning into one big contour line, and then some of these I have to kind of just create a separate shape. When this is all reflected, it will still look like the boat, but no lines can be touching each other. So think about those contour lines, so like these clouds and everything, they're just going to be one basic contour line shape. The waves I'm going to have to turn into floating separate shapes. That is probably one of the most important parts, is just planning it correctly. Now, you need to use a bleeding permanent marker. Make sure that it is bleeding through, and you're going to trace all your shapes so you can see them on both sides. Now, I'm turning it around to the back side, and I am using a soft graphite to just color over my lines. You're going to cut out your square so it is the same size and can be placed over your black piece of paper. Graphite side down, you're going to line it up, and you're going to use kind of a dull pointed pencil, not anything too sharp, and you will transfer your design to the black paper.